Okay, let's take a look at a second example. I should have ridden the donkey at the bar mitzvah. Why not? All right, so here we go. Let's break down should have ridden as my whole verb, and let's show mathematically how that actually breaks down. So the first thing we do is we take the tense of the very first word. Well, should is the past tense of shall. So my tense is past. So I'm going to write the word past, put a little plus sign. Next thing is I'm going to look for a modal. Well, a modal is on that list of modals that I have, and I look for those modals like can, could, shall, should, will, would, and so forth. And look, there's one right here, should. But I want you to remember this. We always write the modal in its present tense. All right, so regardless of the fact that I already wrote the word past here, I always write the modal in its present tense. So I'll always write words like can, but I won't write could. I'll write shall, but I won't write should. I'll write will, but I won't write would. I'll write may, but I won't write might. So I'm going to write shall here. You just trust the process. All right, so I'm going to write the word shall here. So I've written my modal. The third thing I look for is, do I have any form of have? Remember, once again, it could be have, it could be has, it could be had. I do. It's right here. So because I have it, it doesn't matter where it is. As long as I have it, I get to write this whole structure. So here's my plus sign, and I'm going to write have plus en. Give myself a little plus sign and continue on. Fourth thing, I'm looking for an ing. I'm like, hey, do you have an ing? Should have written. I don't. So if I don't have it, and there's parentheses, that means it's optional, and so I don't need to write it. And therefore, I'm at my fifth part, which is the main verb. Remember, your main verb is always your last verb, which is written, but I'm always going to put it in its base form. So the base form of this is the verb ride. So if I said, can you break down or deconstruct should have written, you would write the past of shall plus have plus en plus ride. And I would say, well, then prove it to me. And so the second task we're always going to have is saying, okay, let's reconstruct this verb. So remember what I taught you on the last slide. We talked about how the tag, like an en or an ing, always goes to the next word. So I'm going to bring this guy over here. And so now what I have is I say the past of the next word, which is shall. Well, the past of shall is should. And this is the reason why we don't put the past of should down here, because if I put should down here as my modal, we would say, what's the past of should? Well, there is no past of should. It's already in the past. But if I say, what's the past of shall? You could say, well, it's should. Now I go to the next part. Well, have, it says the past of shall is should plus have. So I get to write the word have. And then the en of ride is ridden. And this gives me should have written, which was what the verb was originally. So now I've deconstructed it, and now I've proven it by reconstructing that verb string. Okay, I'm going to pause my video, start a new one for you.